In this video, I will be going over nuclear tech mod updates and changes from the past 2 months. So most of the things that you see on your screen were added either in January or in February. This video will be divided into 3 main parts: power production, processing, and weapons and ammunition changes. Now timestamps are in the description, so is the mod download. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get straight into this video. Starting with power producing machines, the very first one that we have is the combined cycle gas turbine. Now this is a very cool multi-block structure perfect for burning off all of the natural gas that will be produced while processing oil. So by default, it takes natural gas and engine lubricant, these are necessary, and you can also feed it with water, which will then turn into dense steam for producing some excess power. Now using fluid identifiers, you can change the type of fuel that you are going to use, and both the fuel and the engine lubricant will be fed from the front side. So it takes total 5 types of fuel: syngas, then there is natural gas, petroleum gas, and biogas. I forgot the 5th one. So once it is full of syngas, the fuel and the engine lubricant, you can come to the back side, which is the blue side, and here you can fill up the turbine with water. And for making a closed cycle, make sure that you don't have any excess source of water. Run down fluid ducts, which are for dense steam, normal steam, and low pressure steam. Now even 1 or 2 condensers will do the trick. You won't need a cooling tower just now. And once the closed loop is complete, it will look something like this. So like the normal turbines, even the gas turbine will output its power from the front side. So running some cables here and connecting them with the turbines, we are actually ready to fire this entire setup up. So press the middle button like this and the temperature will start going up. As soon as the temperature reaches 300 degrees Celsius, the turbine will start producing power. So what the turbine can do is throttle itself based on what it's connected to. So if it's connected to a machine which requires a set amount of power, it will only produce that much power. As right now I have connected it to an energy storage block, it will produce the max amount of power it can, which is like 402,840 HE per second. So all of the excess power that you will see in the energy storage block is coming from the turbines. So that's how this entire cycle works, and it can take in like renewable fuels. Next up, we have the Geothermal Heat Exchanger. Very cool multi-block structure, reminds me of the geothermal generator from Satisfactory. Now it will count all of the lava blocks or volcanic lava blocks beneath it in a 15 by 15 by 10 area. So I have 10 deep, 15 by 15 square, and if I set the entire area to lava, it will have 11,250 thermal units in it. That's because each lava block counts for 5 thermal units. So if you multiply that 15 by 15 by 10 times 5, it will give you 11,250. Now same, you can use a fluid identifier to change the coolant or the fluid that you are going to use in order to exchange heat. I am going to use blood. Set it in a fluid heat exchanger, and here I'm going to set up a turbine. Now all you need to do is fill the system up with blood. So once you set it to output, you can get rid of the barrel. Now the geothermal heat exchanger is full of blood. If I set this heat exchanger to take in hot blood, it will start the entire cycle, and blood will basically continuously circulate between the system, powering the boiler. Boiler will produce steam, which then goes in the turbine, and here we will get power, which is 218 kilo HE per second. You can also use multiple heat exchangers in the same area, but as they don't have as many lava blocks beneath them, you can see that they only have 5,000 thermal units as compared to the 11,250 that the one which is in the center has. Now the third one, which is pretty interesting, is the large mining drill. The large mining drill is capable of mining bedrock ores, but more on that later. For now, I want to show you how this drill interacts with normal ore. So for the first button, we have the on-off button. It will turn the drill on and off. Second one, we have the crusher, which will shred the ores and the blocks that it mines. Third, we have the wall, which is used to wall off areas which are open. So for example, if we were drilling near a liquid source, then it would be walled off, so it doesn't interact with our mining area. Next, we have vein miner, and finally silk touch. Now, for drill bits, there are different tiers, like there are different tiers of bedrock ore. And you will also need different types of acid, which can be filled on the slots given in the front like this. So coming to the front side, coming to the drill bit section, we have different tiers of drill bits ranging from tier 1 all the way to tier 5. Now, these also have different types of tips on them, which will give them different effects like fortune and speed. So for now, I am going to use the dash drill bit with diamond tip on it, place it right here. And if I turn the drill on, there it goes. So now it will mine for all of the blocks and ores, which will be deposited in the crate on the front. If I turn on the crusher, then it will start shredding all of these ores. So turning on the crusher and the drill, it will basically increase the power consumption, by the way, but yeah, you will directly start getting dust from ores. So that's the second feature. Now if I turn on vein miner, this will speed up the process drastically. So here goes, our crate is full, so is the internal buffer for the drill, and once the drill hits bedrock, it will stop. So as long as you don't have bedrock ore down there, the drill will stop once it hits bedrock. For upgrades, you can have speed and effectiveness upgrades, which will increase the speed and the range respectively. So as you can see, with 2 level 3 speed upgrades, the drill just goes crazy. And if I put in the 2 effectiveness upgrades for range, it will mine out a 15 by 15 area. So that's the drill. Now, I couldn't show you this in the super flat world, so here we are in a normal world, as I want to show you how this entire thing works with bedrock ores. So first thing, bedrock ores are incredibly difficult to find. So I found the borax bedrock ore right here on Y level 1, which is on the bedrock level, and for that I had to mine out this entire area. Then I cleared off this middle section using Semtex charges, and I also had to clear out this entire area. So it took me roughly 20 to 25 minutes, but once you have found the bedrock ore, which will serve as an infinite source, make sure to place the drill directly on top, and as soon as the drill reaches there after some time, you will see borax, or basically whatever ore you have, starting to appear in your inventory. So the drill will constantly keep on mining. This will, as I told you, this will serve as an infinite source. And yeah, you can connect this to a processing chain, because the processing for the bedrock ores is a little bit different if you want to make it too. It can be simple, but it is also complicated if you want to make it. So you will constantly keep on getting bedrock ore, which can be processed in 2 ways. So you can directly put it in a shredder, which will give you enriched ore, and the enriched can then be processed in a smelter. But you can also centrifuge it, which will give you the centrifuged version. So here I'm going to get centrifuged borax ore, which will go in an ore acidizer. Now this will convert it into cleaned borax ore. And by the way, the acid that we are using here is hydrogen peroxide. So the ore that we processed in the ore acidizer will then go again in a centrifuge, and here it will be converted into separated borax ore. Separated borax ore will then go in another acidizer, and here it will get converted using nitric acid into nitrated borax ore. So we have the nitrated ore again going into a centrifuge. This time you will get ore, but also some secondary products. So we get nitrocrystalline ore, and along with that we also get some secondary products in the crate. The nitrocrystalline ore can then go in an acidizer, but the secondary products we get is lithium fragment. Now this makes bedrock ores pretty important, as this will serve as an infinite source of lithium as well. So using that, you can turn the lithium into tritium that can be used as a pretty good source of fuel. Now for the ore, it will be converted in an ore acidizer using high performance solvent, which will be made using chlorinated petroleum wax in an irradiation chamber of the RBMK reactor. This will convert it into seared borax ore, which will then go in the final the final centrifuge, converting it into enriched borax ore. And enriched borax ore in a shredder will give you borax powder. As for the secondary output, you will get the calcium fragments, which will be used to make calcium powder and ingots. Different bedrock ores will give you different products, so make sure to check not enough items for all of the recipes and all of the things that you can get. Next, for the processing machines, we have the mixer. Now, mixer can basically process a lot of simple recipes which the chemical plant could do. Like for example, here I have set it to make coolant. So if I place some niter here and supply it with water, it will start producing coolant. As it is only a 1x1 machine, it's pretty useful. Next, we have the automatic Buzzsaw, which will serve as a tree farm. Now, to power this Buzzsaw, you need wood oil, and it consumes like very less, basically. So yeah, supply it with some wood oil, and once it has power, it will look for trees around it. And once it detects some trees, it will start cutting them, and the GitHub page says that it will also replant trees. So if you leave it running for long, I guess, then it will replant trees as well. So that's the automatic Buzzsaw, another pretty cool multi-block structure, and yeah, fits the mod perfectly actually. Finally, we come to weapons, ammunitions, turrets, and the first one is the Sentry turret, brown. Now this is an early game turret, very simple to make in a crafting recipe, the crafting table, and it will take 5mm rounds, all of the different types that it can, and has the same GUI as all of the other turrets, even has the internal buffer for energy for 1000 HE. So yeah, it's very early game. Once turned on, it will fire like this, and you can have multiple of these for defending your base. Talking about turrets, some of the turrets can now be destroyed via explosions and some can't be. So like for example, if I basically fire a grenade at the Sentry turret brown, it will be destroyed. But if I do the same thing for these two remaining turrets like the Tawon turret, it won't be destroyed. So some turrets can be destroyed now. You can also aim down the sights on multiple weapons now, which will enable the custom sights like this. Another benefit of aiming down the sights is that it will cause the bullet to spawn in the middle. So like you can see with this machine gun, all of the bullets are spawning in the middle when I aim down the sights, and when I hip fire, the bullets will spawn away from the center and they will spread as well. While aiming down the sides, the bullets will spawn in the center and will not spread as much. Now here you can see that the casings are ejected and they will fall on the ground. They will stay there for some time, and there are also smoke particles when the casings are ejected. This process or this entire thing looks pretty cool with shotgun shells. We have a new shotgun shell which is the Percussion cap, and it is made using only gunpowder, so it has no pellets whatsoever, and it does area damage in front of it, making it particularly useful for fighting like large hordes of mobs. And as you can see, pretty cool effects for shotgun while the casing falls down. And here let's try this thing on some volunteers. Next up, going with the shotgun shell, we have the ballistic gauntlet armor mod. So what this does is allows you to shoot a shell like from your chest plate when you punch something. So in order to use shotgun shells, you don't need shotgun anymore. You can literally punch enemies and Boom. So that's the ballistic gauntlet. Pretty cool armor mod. Once again, will be useful for fighting hordes. Now I already made a shot on this. The 256k tank can now enter a damaged state. Once it is in damaged state, it will leak all of its content slowly. Like if it's a gas, then it will leak rapidly, and it can be repaired using a blowtorch and some steel plates. Same goes for the refinery. If a refinery is hit by an explosion, it will enter a damaged state, and it can also be repaired using a blowtorch, steel plates, and probably some rubber. Finally, we have some paintable red copper cable, which can be disguised in any block that you wish, which will be useful for those of you who like to make pretty base. So here I'm going to disguise this entire thing as sand, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. And finally, for the last thing, crates are now radioactive. So if you have some radioactive material inside the crate, like here I have some cooled down depleted fuel, and if you pick up this crate, like if you break it and have the crate in your inventory, that will inflict radiation on you. So in order to avoid this, now there is a new material or new block called the containment box. So the containment box is made with lead and some uranium, and it can store like radioactive items in it. And as you can see, the radiation is drastically reduced in it. So yeah, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, do smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss any future videos. If you have any ideas or any suggestions, please leave them in the comment section down below, and I will see you next time. Peace out and stay safe, guys.